What would you do if you were forced to give up your VIP seat just because of your skin color? Naomi Harper was about to enjoy a first-class flight when a flight attendant demanded that she move. No explanations, just condescending looks and a white man taking her seat without question. What they didn't know was that Naomi had not only paid for her seat, but she was also the daughter of the plane's pilot, and she was about to teach them a lesson they would never forget. The roar of the engines on the runway made the airport windows tremble. Naomi adjusted her jacket and walked confidently toward the boarding gate. Her father, Captain Douglas Harper, was about to pilot his last flight before retiring, and she had decided to surprise him in first class to celebrate with him. "Excuse me, miss," said the flight attendant with a tense smile. "It seems there has been a mistake with your seat." Naomi raised an eyebrow. "Mistake? Here's my boarding pass. To A first class." The flight attendant avoided her gaze and turned to a middle-aged man in an expensive suit who was waiting next to another staff member. "Mr. Cartwright, your seat is ready." The man looked Naomi up and down and let out a mocking chuckle. "I think there's been a misunderstanding." Naomi felt a knot of unease in her stomach. "There's no misunderstanding. I paid for this seat." The flight attendant smiled with cold politeness. "Miss, we are offering you a seat in economy class." The suited man shook his head, chuckling. "Yes, I think you'll be more comfortable there." Naomi clenched her teeth. Her pulse quickened, but she wasn't going to give in without a fight. "I'm not moving." The tension in the air became suffocating. Some passengers watched the scene with curiosity. Others pretended not to notice. At the cabin door, one of the co-pilots stepped out to talk to the crew. When he saw Naomi's face, he frowned and reached for his radio. "Captain Harper, I need you at the entrance." Silence. Then, a firm voice boomed over the intercom. "What's happening with my daughter?" The boarding area fell into a stunned silence. Captain Harper's voice over the speaker had frozen everyone in place. Naomi crossed her arms and looked at the flight attendant, whose face had turned pale. "Captain Harper, is your father?" the flight attendant asked, swallowing hard. Naomi smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. "Oh, now you're interested in who I am, huh?" she said coldly. "But just a moment ago, you were sure I didn't belong here." The man in the suit, Cartwright, cleared his throat and raised his hands. "Look, I think this was all a misunderstanding." "No, it wasn't," Naomi interrupted, pulling out her phone. "And now I'm making a call." The employees exchanged nervous glances as Naomi dialed a number. It rang only once before a serious voice answered. "Mr. Bennett, this is Naomi Harper. I'm at the boarding gate, and I've just been discriminated against by your staff." On the other end of the line, the airline's operations director fell silent for a moment. Then, his tone changed completely. "What? Who dared to do such a thing?" Naomi looked at the flight attendant, the boarding supervisor, and the suited man, who now avoided her gaze. The boarding attendant tried to take my seat and give it to a white man without any justification. The supervisor agreed, and when I protested, they implied that my place wasn't in first class. Mr. Bennett cursed under his breath. "I'm handling this right now." Naomi looked up and saw her father walking toward them, his uniform impeccable, his stance firm. His gray eyes burned with fury. "Can someone explain to me why you're harassing my daughter?" The flight attendant stammered an apology. The boarding supervisor started to say something, but Naomi raised her hand to silence him. "Don't bother with excuses. You're fired." The supervisor paled. "What? You can't do that." "Not me, but the operations director can. And he already is," Naomi replied calmly, showing the call on speakerphone. Mr. Bennett spoke in an authoritative voice. "Effective immediately, the boarding supervisor and the flight attendant are fired for misconduct and racial discrimination. The airline will not tolerate this." The employees were speechless, their faces a mix of disbelief and panic. Naomi put her phone away and looked at Cartwright, who was trying to slip away. "And you, Mr. Cartwright, I hope you enjoy your flight in economy class." The passengers who had been watching erupted in murmurs and suppressed smiles. Naomi got her seat back without further issues, and when the plane took off, her father made sure to give her a knowing wink from the cockpit. That was the last time anyone dared to tell her she didn't belong in first class. If you like this video, you have to see this other one where a racist cop throws hot coffee at a woman without knowing she's the new chief of police. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment.